We have heard wonders about the law of attraction, but it is not even half as powerful as the law of assumption. This works through a premise as simple as it is true. Our thoughts shape our reality. Everything that goes through our heads ends up happening in front of our eyes. Therefore, I want to welcome you to this journey, where we will dive into the depths of the human mind and make our thoughts do the hard work for us. Prepare to open your mind. Stay until the end to learn the secrets of that amazing law. The law of the assumption is part of a group of laws that are based on the principle that everything that exists is energy, and in this sense, they affect us from the mental, emotional, and spiritual level. This law was proposed openly in the various works of Neville Goddard. In a simplified way, in the law of assumption, everything is about a kind of mental game where we assume an expected reality once and for all. In clear relationship with other laws, such as that of attraction or abundance linked to the new thought. This theory combines philosophical, psychological, and mystical elements that connect very well today with personal and spiritual development. We're not just passively waiting for what we want to come true, we're getting into character to make it happen. To begin to understand Neville Goddard's theory, we must define what the term assumption means to it. It would not so much be elevation from a religious or spiritual point of view, but rather action and effect of assuming. Therefore, we talk about the action of attracting something to oneself, taking charge, taking responsibility, or accepting. A combination of these meanings completes the global meaning of the term assumption, as Goddard expressed it. This is where many people begin to get confused with the law of attraction. It is not that you are going to feel like a millionaire and tomorrow $1 million will appear on your doorstep. This theory is much more complicated than that. To begin with, there are two concepts that seem fundamental to Goddard's speculations. On the one hand, the imagination, and on the other, conscience. The truth depends on the intensity of the imagination, not on the facts, because for our imagination, all things are possible. And imagination, as we know it, represents the beginning of the creation process along with faith. In this sense, imagination and faith would be comparable for Goddard, since according to him, the law of assumption operates not only with the imagination, but with the belief that we place in those visualizations. This part of the process is then based on believing in yourself and your ability to be in some way master of your destiny. Of course, this seems easier on paper than in practice. In real life, we are exposed to hundreds of stimuli that remind us that the vision we have is not only not real, but is far from materializing. But this is where we must commit to ourselves in the process, make our mind a sacred temple where nothing can enter or leave without our permission. This requires a great connection with yourself, which allows you to see your value as a person and that of your goals. And this connection is only achieved through solitude and constant meditation. When your visions are created and are not altered by any other factors, you can begin to believe them little by little. The use of imagination would be the force that nourishes the law of the assumption, to the point that Goddard separates people into two groups according to their ability to imagine: followers and leaders. Followers are those people that we already explained. They have a very clear vision of what they want. But in the event of any setback in the real world, they only move away from said vision. They are eternal pursuers. In contrast, leaders take control of this vision, placing themselves in front of it and not behind it, guiding what they created in their minds to become real in their lives. And they achieve this through faith, taking action from their visualization and doing everything they see in it. The other essential concept on which Goddard's law of assumption is based is consciousness. Not in vain, one of his books is called The Power of Consciousness. Among its pages, it explains to us that it is necessary to raise consciousness to the level of what is desired, and to remain there until such level becomes your nature, which is the path to all apparent miracles. You only need to look at the history of humanity to know that progress comes from those who do not accept the world as it is. And this is only capable of being achieved by what we call enlightened people. Do you remember the concept of making our mind a temple? That's just what these types of people do. And your best tool to achieve this is through meditation. Meditation, at its core, is a practice that brings us to a state of calm, centered consciousness, where we can tune into our inner being and connect with the universe. And this state of serenity and mental clarity that we obtain through meditation is actually the place where the law of assumption is cooked. When we meditate, we come into contact with our deepest self and the universal energy that surrounds us. This connection allows us to align our mind, body, and spirit with our highest goals and desires. During meditation, we can clearly visualize our goals, cultivate feelings of gratitude and abundance, and affirm our positive beliefs about what we want to manifest in our lives, thus becoming the perfect exercise to be in contact with the reality we want without forgetting the present. At the end of your meditation, when you wake up from your controlled daydream, you feel as if you have returned from a great distance. Everything that was in your mind, little by little, begins to materialize in your reality. We then return to the beginning, to the essence of the law of the assumption. If you focus your attention on an ideal, it will become real in your physical world. If a person feels his desire as really desired, as really necessary, and puts his mind to work on it, he will be less close to its achievement. That is, the $1 million will not appear at your door no matter how much you want it. But if you really consciously want it, your imagination has the ability to establish mechanisms to achieve it. Thus, fulfilling what we want to achieve, we have programmed our brain to work based on a single objective. In general, the law of assumption invites you to take control of your reality and assume a sense of possession and deservingness regarding what you want to be or have. This assumption presumes that, although your senses cannot yet perceive this reality, your mind is the owner of recreating this situation. Therefore, the key when carrying out this visualization process is to keep an open mind, to adapt to the new reality that we want to create, and to be able to identify the opportunities that life will present to us based on said reality. So, while the law of the assumption invites you to pretend or assume that you already have that wish achieved, visualization leads you to imagine that moment through the recreation of coherent images of your wish fulfilled. But this process does not end when you finish your meditation session or when you go to sleep after imagining your dream life. Repetition and conviction are fundamental aspects in the practice of the law of assumption. Repetition of positive affirmations and visualization of our desires allow us to strengthen and deepen our connection with what we want to manifest in our lives. Only when we constantly tell ourselves what we want are we reprogramming our subconscious mind to align our thoughts, emotions, and actions with our goals. There is no limit to how many times we can perform these exercises. The more we immerse ourselves in the practice of the law of assumption, the more rooted our desires will be in our being, and the more effectively we can attract them to us. This entire process, from the moment you begin to imagine your desires until they materialize, is the work of our consciousness. Many people use this awareness irresponsibly. They are not even aware that everything around them was first inside their mind. Therefore, the responsibility of conscience reminds us that our lives are the direct reflection of our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Recognizing this truth means accepting that we are the architects of our own reality, and that every event, circumstance, or experience we experience has its origin in our individual consciousness. Only when we understand this truth, we stop worrying about external stimuli which makes the process of the law of attraction much easier. We realize that every thought we cultivate and every emotion we nurture contributes in some way to the reality we create for ourselves. And from there we work to be better children, better professionals, better citizens. There are no flaws in this law. All you have to do is start accepting that the only reality is the one you create for yourself. Go out into the street with this vision in mind, and nothing can stop you. What do you think about this topic? Have you had experiences with the law of assumption? Leave your thoughts in comments. If you made it this far, I want to thank you for watching the video. If you like this type of content, don't hesitate to support the channel with your like and subscription. I also invite you to take a look at our other videos. I'm sure that more than one will be to your liking. Thank you very much for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.